under suspension. Remember? They pulled it when they saw we were going to have a recorded vote. So the American people, when we reveal just what kind of rules have been coming to be accepted as the norm, this is the status quo, this is the way it's done, son, sit down and shut up. This is the way things roll here. It's wrong, wrong, wrong. So I'm going to jump because I'd like my colleague Mark to respond regarding appropriations bills. We have 12 appropriations committees. You have 12 appropriations bills. They should be completed and presented to the floor in 12 appropriations votes. This would allow every member to vote reflective of our core principles. And may I say that when we abandon the core principles that gave birth to the document that we've sworn an oath to support, then we betray our duty to reflect those core principles in a representative republic. And if we can have 12 appropriations bills presented in the appropriation season before the end of June, during every Congress, during every year, then we have 12 appropriation votes. My God, we can address the problems that our nation suffers from. And I yield to my friend and colleague, Mark Meadows. What's your opinion on that, sir?
Well, Congressman Clay Higgins to former Congressman Mark Meadows.
Should we have the timeline there? But what we ought to do is empower our subcommittee chairmen to be, listen, you can serve on the Appropriations Committee, and half of those appropriators know from day one that the work that they're doing is absolutely meaningless, because they know that history shows them that they've never been able to pass that. And so to the point of not only having it there, whether it's you representing Louisiana or Tennessee or Michigan or Indiana, Arizona, Florida, or Texas, those needs are very different, and you will have different needs. And so the answer that appropriators have come up with, well, let's just bring back earmarks. Well, let me have a novel concept. Why don't we control the spending of the entire budget, not just 1% of it? And when we look at that, then a priority, it gives the general there the ability to actually go out and get a coalition of people together, whether it's in Louisiana or Tennessee or in between, and actually put forth that. So I think that not only does it do that, but it starts to return the process to where Congresswoman Sparks was talking about. It actually brings it back where it starts to be a legislative body where you have real debate. I came to Congress as a business guy. I mean, I was so naive. I came here and I said, well, all you got to do is find somebody who thinks one way and another one that thinks the other way, get them in a room, make some compromises, and voila. Well, it is. But it's all about the staffers of just a few super members, not of 435 members, where that actually takes place. And so it's key that you do it. I think if you fix the appropriations process, a lot of the other, bills and legislative initiatives can follow suit and hopefully be restored to regular order, and we'll know it when we see it, because with the one exception of the gentleman from Texas, no one has ever seen regular order.
I thank my colleague Mark, and I yield.
Thank you. I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much,
The activity that I think we're trying to do today is to talk about ideas. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's correct, sir. And the ideas that we've got, just like when we talk about changing the rules of engagement with whether, how we do our budgeting process, I think should be an advantage to the American people. I think the people should come out with something that's better, and I seemingly think that a majority should decide what that is. Well, we haven't been in the majority for 4 years, and we didn't agree with that, so that's away with that theory that was good for the American people. But I think that we need to think about it, that power of Article 1, Section 7 also should be there for us, and that we need to think about what the House of Representatives as members of Congress of this body, House, notwithstanding, we have to work with the Senate. What's in our best interest? What's in the American people's best interest? And I think every time we win back the majority is because there was a real problem on the other side, like they ran away with everybody's checkbook and are ruining the country. And so we've got to pull it back now. So I just think that the rules of whatever we do must be consistent with that. Now, Paul will tell you it's hard to get that lined up. So I think it should deal with the stability of the majority. Paul may not agree with that because I've been the chairman of the Rules Committee for 6 years, and we were trying to give our team the stability to make hard votes, and then we found that they were compromised in the leadership. So I don't know that the rules were the problem. The rules were the problem to the people that didn't like the decisions that were made, in my opinion. And that in going through this process, we need to make sure that the stability of the majority is there and somehow hold the leadership accountable. And that goes to the rules package 2, vacating the chair. And so I just think that there's a lot to think about of what we're really trying to accomplish and who would accomplish it. And remembering this, that I didn't study this before I walked in here, but our friends, the Democrats, had some bit of, if any bill has 218 votes, any bill has 218 members that support it as co-sponsors, they'll bring that bill to the floor. Now that sounds real nice until you really look at it. And it could be 217 Democrats and 1 Republican, and all of a sudden that wasn't what you wanted.
Congressman Pete Sessions, Republican from Texas.
218, it could be 212 Democrats and 10 Republicans. So all I'm saying is we just got to think about what we're doing, but it's always there. I always thought about it this way, that when we wrote the rules package, it was to create a majority that had not just advantage, but could accomplish what needed to be done. And then all it takes is one majority leader to say we won't do a bill on the border. And all of a sudden, it didn't matter what the rules were. That guy got it real fast. So you may have, I just thank y'all both, all 4 of you, for being here. But that's the way I see it, that you've got to make sure that it is about stability and not about empowering a minority. I didn't even ask a question. Are you yielding, or do you have a question? I'll yield, but Mark you may have some comment about what I said. Paul certainly thinks things about what I said. Y'all want to talk me out of what I 13 seconds, Mr. 13 seconds. Paul?
Paul Teller from Advancing American Freedom.
Time is expired. Exactly. I do like what you said about stability. No, the stability I think makes sense. Where there is some continuity, so that there's not such drastic changes where the American people don't know at any given day or any given year, right? What set of rules are being followed, and frankly, even just I love this education forum, because hopefully it is showing Joe Citizen, perhaps watching at home, that the rules do matter, because if you want to get good policy, and this is a perspective I've always come from, if you want to get good policy, you have to have a good process first, because if the process shuts down your ability to get good policy, well, okay, then all the things you're promising and